Are our dreams just random images fired from an unconscious brain during sleep? Or something much more important, like life-saving inner guidance? How dreams can be healing and early warning tools for disease, financial crisis, or success. And love is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. Hello, I'm your host, author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Welcome to Dreaming Healing, where dreams and cutting-edge scientific research meet on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Dreaming Healing is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when you can call in and ask Kat questions about your amazing dreams. Talk on air. Call toll-free 833-220-1200. That's 833-220-1200. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Kat Kanavos, and I'm so glad you're all here. This is a live show, so anything that happens during the show, hey, you're going to see it. And that's some of the joy of having a live show with live guests. So if you're just listening to the show right now and you'd like to actually watch my guests and myself during this next hour, you can go to http://bit.ly Dream Visions 7 radio network. And you can also go to the Dream Vision 7 Facebook page. It's live on that Facebook page. You can just click that and watch us, because we're going to have a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about caregiving, which is very, very timely. Caregiving takes compassion, it takes patience, it takes living love. And with some of us locked away for 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about the good, bad, and the ugly with caregiving, okay? But before we start that, I want to do our meditation, the one that we do every single time we have this show, and it's our protection in clearing meditation. And as soon as we're done with that, we're going to be talking to our guests who will be doing the meditation with us. We have Dave Nasani, and he is going to be talking to us about getting burned out as a caregiver. He is the caregiver's caregiver. And our other guest is Victoria Price, and she's the daughter of the actor Vincent Price. We're going to be talking about their books. We're going to be talking about caregiving. We're going to be talking about so very, very many things. So get ready, because last week, the show was about Say Yes to Life. And this week, the show is going to be about caregiving. So everybody get comfortable, get in your chair. We're going to start our meditation. We do this every week. If you're new to the show, we do this every week. And what we're doing is we are just surrounding ourselves so that we are in a healthy place and we are in a protection place, and we're going to clear ourselves of any negativity that we may have collected during the week or during the day since the last time we saw each other, okay? Get comfortable. If you're driving and you're listening to the show, please don't close your eyes. It'll still work. Keep your eyes open. It'll be good. And just listen, okay? All right, so let's get comfortable. Kind of close your eyes. Sit down deep in your chair. During this meditation, we're going to imagine using something that is small, but really powerful to you. Maybe it's something that was given to you in a dream by your spirit guides, your guardian angels, or maybe in a dream by a deceased loved one, or it could be something that's precious to you, a piece of jewelry, a crystal, a necklace, anything that gives you power, your favorite flower, anything that holds the power of love for you. This is going to be your power gift. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take in 3 deep breaths. We're going to hold them while anything that is not of our highest and best is captured in that breath of life. And then we're going to blow it out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain, where it's going to be converted into positive light and returned to the universe, because we don't want to litter. Okay? So, ready? Close your eyes, feel yourself relaxing, being really centered. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Now blow it out across the room, right into that purple flame of Saint Germain. Again, a deep breath in. I want you to imagine any negative things you've heard this past week, any negative things you've seen or done this past week, attaching themselves to that breath of life, and blow it out across the room. Empty your lungs right into that purple flame of Saint Germain. One more time. Deep breath in for any of those stubborn little pieces of negativity. Hold them, blow them out. Empty your lungs completely out. All right, now I want you to imagine your gift, your power gift. I want you to imagine it in your hand, and I want you to create a circle, a protective circle around yourself, a mirrored protective circle that only allows that which is of your highest and best, brought by your spirit guides, can come in to that mirrored protective light, that mirrored protective circle. Everything else is reflected back from whence it came, doesn't touch us, we have nothing to do with it. We wish it so, and therefore it is. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. You might want to roll your neck a little bit. You'll feel yourself just kind of relaxing. Okay? I want to tell you a little bit about our show tonight and introduce you to our fabulous guests. And during the show, that is Loki that is sitting over my shoulder. I have not been letting Loki outside to run around on our country club and greet all the people who come by because of the virus. It is transmittable to pets, and I love Loki. And so he hasn't been able to go out. So he proceeded to try and eat all my papers that had all the information for my guests tonight. When that didn't work, he came over and tried to knock down the clock. And when that didn't work, he's sitting over there, and I know he's trying to think of something else. So anyhow, our show tonight is about caregiving. And caregiving takes compassion, and it takes patience and living love. You have to love to be a caregiver. It is compassion on steroids. Our guests tonight are going to be sharing their heart-centered practices that can help anyone experience the good, the bad, and the ugly with caregiving. And right now, we have a lot of people in that caregiver boat. So our guests tonight are Victoria Price, and Victoria brings her unique story of the national and international stage as an author, an inspirational speaker, a coach, an interspiritual minister. We seem to be getting a lot of those on that show. Have you noticed that? If you've been coming to this show a lot, we're attracting them, and I'm so happy that we are. She is also the daughter of the actor Vincent Price. Remember his scary movies? Well, we're going to be talking about nightmares in a few minutes. So we're going to be asking her about nightmares and life with her father. She's the author of a number of books, and we're going to have her give us the names of those books and where they can find them in just a minute. Our second guest is Dave Nasani, and Dave and I are, believe it or not, are old friends. We were in a book together, Wake Up Women, 5 years ago. And we just reconnected because he has a new book out. He is known as the Caregiver's Caregiver. And we're going to be talking about his techniques that he uses for caregiving and the latest book that he has just written. And for those of you who are calling in, and I do see that we have a caller, I will get to you in just a few minutes as soon as I'm done with introducing our guests. So just hang on. And I always love it when we have callers call into the show. So the websites for our guests are on my Dream Vision 7 Radio Network webpage, but you can connect with Victoria Price at www.victoriaprice.com, and that's VICTORIAPRICE.com. And Dave is www.caregiverdave.com. Welcome to the show, Victoria and Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with you, Victoria, ladies first. I'm going to ask you the first question. Tell us the name of your recent book that you've written and why did you write it?
The book is called Living Love, 12 Heart-Centered Practices to Transform Your Life. And I wrote it because I lived it. I realized, it was about, it's almost 10 years now, that I was doing everything right in my life and I was absolutely miserable. I was a workaholic and I had just sort of completely lost any sense of myself as somebody who had something to give to the world. I had no idea who I was other than being a workaholic. And I vowed to myself to change my life, but I didn't know how to do it. Along the way, a couple of interesting things happened. It was my dad's 100th birthday, and they had celebrations for him all over the world. And during that time, I realized that my legacy from him wasn't what I had thought. It wasn't that I was this kid of a movie star, an icon. His legacy to me was the immense love with which he moved through the world and a legacy of joy. And so I felt so much joy conveying that to all the people who loved him. But when I got back to my life, I had no sense of joy. And it came to me that what I needed to do was create a daily practice of joy. But I had no idea what that meant. And I sort of thought it was crazy. I mean, how do you practice something you're just supposed to know how to do? So I learned everything I could about practice, and I learned everything I could about joy. And it kind of came down to this. Joy is the pure and simple delight in being alive. And that's what I'd lost. And practice, you have to do every day. You have to commit to doing it. You have to do it in a conscious way, and you have to do it deliberately. So that's what I did. I daily, deliberately, consciously, and committedly practiced joy. And then I blogged about it.
Wow.
And it changed my life. And so that's why I wrote the book, because I began realizing that what changed my life was for 20 minutes a day. I wasn't talking about feeling more joy. I felt more joy. And then I began doing that in every other area of my life. If I said I wanted more balance in my life, I began to practice balance and I felt more balanced. If I said I wanted to be more connected, I practiced being more connected because I'm kind of a hermit. And I felt more connected. And all of a sudden I realized I was shifting out of thinking of life as a series of problems that had to be fixed into living love. By actually living as if I already was the person who I thought I was inside, I became that person. And I realized that practice was this completely transformational thing. And so I wrote this book about 12 really simple practices that anyone can do that can completely shift you out of a fear-based problem-solving mode into living love.
That's beautiful. So Dave, Dave, tell us about your book, your recent book, The Caregiver's Caregiving is what or The Caregiver's Caregiver is what you're known as, and your latest book that you've written and why you wrote it.
It's my life too. Thrive and stay alive as a caregiver. And I've shortened my brand down to Caregiver Dave, caregiverdave.com. I was caregiver Dave, the caregiver's caregiver, and I still am. But this book I wrote is for caregivers who know that they should be putting their needs first, but they just don't know how. And roughly that's about 30% of caregivers, because unfortunately 30% of caregivers will actually die before their loved ones do from the stress, because they don't eat right, they don't sleep right, they don't do all the things, they don't even know what they don't know. Now I have a Facebook page with 37,000 followers. And roughly about a third of these people are very complaining, negative, victim mentality people. And no matter what I tell them that's positive, they argue with me and they disagree with me. And I'll tell caregiving can be fun. No, it can't. You ought to hear my day, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm starting to realize, because before I said, no, that number can't be right. But I'm actually meeting the 30% who I know will probably be the ones that die because their attitude sucks. And it's all about attitude, isn't it? You have to believe that it's a privilege and a joy to caregive someone, because when they're gone, you're going to miss them. And you're going to realize that you spent all the time complaining about, this or that, and not cherishing them, especially if they have dementia or something like that. There are ways to just spend moments with them, and a moment might only be 5 minutes or 5 seconds, but you put a smile on a dementia or an Alzheimer's patient's face and they feel good for that moment because you reminded them about something that you did when you were 4 years old. Because dementia and Alzheimer's patients, they don't really forget who you are. They don't forget things. Their mind is just going backwards in time. And they may remember that their daughter was 4 years old, and this 52-year-old overweight lady doesn't look like her 4-year-old daughter. And of course she doesn't recognize you. But if you tell them some stories or put on some headphones with some swing music on, something where all of a sudden their lights, the light in their eyes lights up and you say, oh, she's back. And then like that movie, The Notebook, remember when they were dancing, they were having this moment, right? And then all of a sudden it was gone. Who are you? What are you doing in my house? Get out of here, Many times, even after the moment's gone, they'll feel good about it. Not in that particular scene, but and many times they don't know why they feel good about it. So that's why I would encourage people who are caring for dementia patients to don't try to convince them that they're wrong, that their husband is dead, he's not in the next room. Don't try to, let them know that
talking to them.
Yeah, all their delusions are not reality. Just agree with them, and just your mission is to make them comfortable and make them laugh and make them feel good. I had a woman on my show one time. I don't know if I'm talking too much. Just stop me if I am. Her name was Frances.
We have to go to break in about 30 seconds. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she was just a poet, and she would make up these poems about caregivers, dementia patients who liked caregivers who touched them and read to them, and didn't like them who would test them. Well, what did you eat today? And who visited you last? She said, I don't know. I can't remember that stuff. So basically, that's it.
Great. Well, we do have a caller, and caller, your number is on here, 171922. When we come back from the break, I'm going to bring you onto the show. And if you've got a question for our guests, we'll hear it at that time. So don't go away, everybody. We will be right back. You are listening to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. And I am your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis. But my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you do too. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke, forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life. Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeCannabis.com in English and Italian worldwide, and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Berg. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
What if your dog, cat, or horse could help you with your love life? What would they suggest? It's fun to think about and a wonderful way to conduct yourself. After all, animals know well how to love and invite us to love them unconditionally. That's a pretty great way to live life. Animals always communicate with our highest good as their central focus, even when sometimes we feel stymied or frustrated with their behavior. Visit LauraRowleyHealer.com to book a workshop or private long-distance phone reading. Laura's readings and workshops help you find the part of you that's able to tune in and connect to your amazing animals. Laura Rowley believes we can all understand by listening differently. Book a workshop or private long-distance phone reading now by going to LauraRowleyHealer.com. That's LauraRowley healer.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, and you are listening to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Our guests with us tonight are Victoria Price and Dave Nasani. And we do have a caller, so I am going to try to bring them in. Hi, are you there? Is our caller there? Although they're showing up here on...
Maybe they're muted.
They could be muted, or they could just be listening and they're going, is she talking to me? So if you are calling in 171-922-11771, we tried to bring you on and you haven't come on. If you're just listening, fine, just stay there and listen. We're good with that. So Dave and Victoria, I have a question for the two of you. Victoria, while you were, you're talking about how your father just passed. Were you a caregiver to him in his last years of life?
Yeah, I was. And of course, he was fortunate in that he had a number of people who cared for him. He knew it was coming. And so he had somebody who lived at the house, but he really wanted to give that guy a break. He really wanted to make sure that he didn't burn out. And so he gave him every night except one night of the week off. And so I was the only one of the two kids who lived in Los Angeles. And he said to me, do you have any friends who might, want to come over and hang out with me so it's not you every night? And I said, yeah, I do. And so at first it started with my friend Dennis, and then it expanded to my friends Mitchell and Jim and Chris. And we had this whole group of people, and Roddy McDowell took to calling them the Angels. And so it was me and these 5 guys. Paul was another one. I wanted to make sure I remembered all of them. And they would come over and hang out with my dad. He would teach them how to cook things because he was this amazing cook. And it was this beautiful exchange because they were young and wanted to learn from somebody who was a great storyteller about life. And he wanted the energy of a young person around. And he was, not always happy to be in the shape he was in. He was somebody who lived an incredibly active life, but having all this circle of care around him. And then the thing that I did was I took a tape recorder out and I recorded him every 3 afternoons a week for 6 months. And we talked about art, which was our mutual passion. And basically I just put the recorder on, asked him questions, and it went wherever it went. And we talked about art for 6 or 9 months. And that was an incredible gift too. And so I learned a lot about caregiving, but I think the most important thing I learned about being a caregiver was from my sister-in-law, who had been through some serious illnesses herself. And I was really young when my dad was ill and dying. I was in my early 30s. And I had this sort of Pollyanna, let's be cheery, let's be, happy attitude, and let's not go down and get depressed. But my sister-in-law, my dad said she was the one who it was easiest for him to be with, because she understood what it was like to struggle with illness. And I really heard that. I couldn't put it into practice at the time, but as I became a caregiver later on, I understood that it was really important to meet somebody where they are. And so I wished I could have done that better for my dad, but I'm really grateful that both my dad and my sister-in-law taught me that. So as I've been able to be a caregiver later on for people, I've understood that meeting somebody right where they are is one of the greatest gifts you can give them.
Oh, that is a beautiful
Wow.
story. Just before my dad died, I was his caregiver also. And he was a Green Beret, and he had kept all of his Green Beret stories in his head. And so I did much like what you did, Victoria. I turned on the tape recorder and I taped stories that he had never told before.
Wow.
Incredible. And so I really kind of hope to write a book using his stories, so that the world can see, what these guys do when they're behind enemy lines. So Dave, you have an incredible story of caregiving, and you've been very involved in that. The difference between my story and Victoria's story is the person that we were taking care of passed over, but yours has not, have they?
No, she's like the ever ready bunny. She just keeps going and going. It's been 23 years since she hasn't been able to speak or use her mobility. But
Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what happened.
well, 23 years ago, I just a normal guy. I was running a gas station 40 years, still am. And we were enjoying the empty nest phase of life where we raised all our daughters. We got them out of the house. We even got them all married off, each one twice. And one day, my wife complains to me about this headache she's been having. She called it the headache of her life, called Dr. Kevorkian and have him put me out of my misery. She was joking, I think. But by the time the ambulance arrived, unfortunately, it was too late. The woman I loved had suffered a massive stroke, and it left her severely speech impaired, paralyzed on one side. And in that moment, our world just turned upside down, and nothing would ever be the same again. In fact, the next 2 years was like a living hell for both of us. She was angry and bitter at everything, and I was the only one around, so I got the brunt of it. And finally, I just felt like I couldn't take it anymore, so I wrote her a letter. That's what I do. I said, Charlene, why are you so mean to me? It's so hard taking care of you 24/7, not getting any crumbs of appreciation or love in return. I know it's hard on you, but you're making it even harder on me. I just can't be with you anymore. I mean, I'll take care of you financially, but I just can't be with you. And, I looked at that letter and I read it over and over again. And I said, I can't give this to the woman I love, to my soulmate, to the woman who I've been with for 23 years. And so I just filed it away in my filing cabinet, went on in my isolation and loneliness. And until one day, somebody gave me a card, and I don't even remember when they did it, but I pulled it out of my pocket. It was inviting me to a caregiver support group. I didn't even know what a caregiver was. I didn't know what a support group was, but I figured, I was living at the hospital for 6 weeks. Maybe somebody gave it to me. They thought I needed it. So I said, what have I got to lose? So I went, and everything changed for me. I met caregivers there who were just like me, burned out. And I realized that if I didn't take care of me, I couldn't take care of my wife. And I was reminded what the airlines tell me every time I get on a plane and I tune them out in the event of an emergency, put your oxygen mask on first before you help your loved one with their mask. Well, so I went home and I was determined to put my needs first. I was going to be selfish because that's what it seemed like to me. When you put your needs first, you're being selfish, right? And selfish was a dirty word. But I had done this talk at TEDx, and they wanted a real catchy title. I says, well, I was going to name my book, Caregivers Need to Be Selfish in Order to Survive, and they wouldn't let me do it. They said it was too negative. But they said, no, we love it, because with TEDx, they don't want you talking about yourself and how great you are, where you've spoken or what you've written. They just want to know an idea worth spreading. And they let me do it. And I was able to tell people that if you are not selfish as a caregiver, then you're probably going to die. You're going to be that statistic of 30% of caregivers dying before their loved ones do.
That's a frightening statistic. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I read that statistic, but you do get burnout. And right now, what you and Victoria are talking about is so important, because not so much here in our country, but this show goes to 26 countries. And we have viewers from 26 countries watching this show. Some of them, like Italy and France, they are shut in 24/7 for the next 2 weeks or possibly longer with their loved ones. And they are doing caregiving for either their children or their older parents, because, in Europe, they don't put parents or grandparents into homes. They keep them at home. So you usually have multiple families living together under one roof, but they're all from the same family. So let's talk about what you found was a great formula for helping you caregive when you were doing what you were doing with the ones you loved. Victoria, in your case, it was your father. And in your case, Dave, it's still going on with your wife. This could be something that could be very helpful to people across the world. So let's start with you, Victoria. If you had a care formula, what would you tell us about it?
Well, I think what I wrote about in this book is really something that can apply to any situation, including being a caregiver. And it's actually taking time to shift out of the negativity that stress or fear or anxiety brings by not saying, I wish I was less stressed, I wish I was less fearful, but actually kind of getting quiet and figuring out what it is. And I think each of us has something that's sort of the quality in our lives that shifts us out of our heads and out of our stress and into our hearts. For me, that's joy. It literally, when I'm in joy, it's like my head gets bypassed, the anxiety gets bypassed. It's like chunk, chunk. And then by creating a practice of joy for 20 minutes a day, it's like going out into the sunshine and getting your vitamin D. Joy comes into my life. But I've talked to a lot of different people. People have many different qualities. That is that quality that shifts them out of their head. For some people, it's balance. For some people, it's gratitude. For some people, it's service. But whatever that is, it's actually making the commitment to yourself to practice that, to put everything else aside and to take that time for it. For me, the practice of joy, I walk every single day. I literally smell the roses every single day. If it's winter, I look for the beauty. That's my version of smelling the roses. If it's spring like it is now, I'm just looking at beautiful flowers. I listen to the birds. I love birds. They're simple little things. But when I do that every day, I reconnect with joy. And then whatever I come in to do after that, I'm operating like the gas in my tank is joy instead of stress or anxiety or fear. And so I think what we don't understand is how much of our days we go through literally fueled up by things that don't serve us. And so if we 20 minutes a day practice what that thing is that reconnects us with our heart, then we can come back to whatever we need to do, including caregiving, from a place of wholeness and a place that is rooted and grounded in love.
I think that's great. And if we are not able to go out and walk because we're not allowed to leave our apartment, I think that we can go back into our mind in a meditation and see ourselves taking that walk, or see ourselves swimming in the ocean, or walking through a field of beautiful flowers, and spend that time in that state of joy. So Dave, what would you like to share with us as far as your care formula?
Well, I came up with a formula, and believe it or not, it's called CARE. CARE. Communicate with your friends and don't isolate yourself. So many caregivers will complain to their friends instead of their support group, and they're just going to stop coming around, because who wants to hear you complaining about your wife or your mother or your whoever? Nobody wants to be around Debbie Downer. So they're going to stop calling. They're going to stop coming by, and you're going to be all alone. And your gym partner and your movie partner and all the guys who used to do stuff with you, if you're a guy, they're not coming by. So that's why I say save it for your support group. A stands for ask for help. And don't just ask for help, because a lot of people will come to a caregiver and say, hey, is there anything I can do to help? And believe it or not, caregivers will say, no, I got this. Really? They're turning down help. But a lot of people will ask for help, and they'll say, oh, I can't do it. And they'll just say, oh, okay. But my suggestion is write down on a list everything that you need. You're out of laundry detergent. You need lettuce from the store. You need to get your nails done, whatever. A big, long list. And someone says, hey, can I help you? Hey, I'm glad you asked that. Are you free Wednesday? No. Okay. Well, how about Thursday? No. Well, are you free Saturday? Pretty soon they're going to be too embarrassed to say no anymore, and they'll say yes, and you got to cross something off your list. CAR. R is rest. Caregivers need 8 hours rest every single night. The average caregiver only gets 2 or 3. I can't survive on 2 or 3. I don't know about you. So a lot of caregivers complain that they have to wake up every 2 hours because their loved one needs to turn over and not get bed sores. And I say to them, it's time to maybe put your loved one in a facility, because if you can't get your 8 hours sleep and your loved one needs 24-hour care, it's time to move them to a facility. Otherwise, you definitely will be one of the 30% who dies, because nobody can give 24-hour care and stay alive. And then the final letter, E.
You brought up a really important point.
Okay.
If you're not getting enough sleep and you're not getting enough care and you end up dying, the person you were caring for now has to find somebody new.
Yeah,
so would you rather stay
some
here
relative will probably stick them in some sleazy nursing home, and you don't want that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the E stands for eat. Eat nutritious, healthy food. Don't eat junk food. Junk food's got chemicals and processed ingredients and all sorts of sugar, and you just can't do that, okay? I just recently lost 20 pounds. How did I do it? Well, I went on this thing called keto, which I didn't even know existed more than 3 months ago. But after the third person told me about it, I says, well, I'm going to look it up. And apparently I can eat all the fat I want, all the protein I want, all the vegetables I want. And all I have to do is give up breads and pastas and sugar. Well, I love pizza and bread, but I figured I'm going to try it. And every time I craved pizza or bread, I just had some bacon and extra protein. And it works. And I'm maintaining my weight. I've been a couple of months now with a modified. I can take a little carbs, 50 grams of carbs. And so it's easy for a caregiver to lose weight, to exercise. They don't have to go to the gym. They could walk up and down stairs if they have a home with stairs, or they can walk around the block.
We've got to go to a break. When we come right back, we will pick right up where we stopped. So don't go away. This is Kat Cannabis, and you are listening to Dreaming Healing on DreamVision7radio.com.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke, forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com in English and Italian worldwide and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award-winning book, Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing, is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing by 3-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers. Darkest hours to brightest moments. Transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity: Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. If you are just tuning in, our guests tonight are Dave Nasani, and he is a caregiver for his wife now. And we have Victoria Price, who was a caregiver for her father, the actor Vincent Price. And we're discussing some of the tricks and some of the techniques that have been used in caregiving. And one of the reasons we're discussing this on this show is because so many people are now shut up in their apartments worldwide. This show goes all around the world. It goes into 26 different countries. So chances are somebody is sitting in their apartment right now going, I'm going to pull my hair out. Don't do it. It's going to be okay. And we have 2 experts on the show with us tonight to give you tips on how not to lose your mind or more while you are caregiving and shut away. So Victoria, let's talk about your nomad life right now. You are not in any one place, and you did have Allie, your little dog who was on earlier with you, is your constant companion.
Yes. See if she'll come back and join us. Yes, I live on the road. I've done it for 4 years now. I was working a lot, 250 nights a year, traveling. And I had this moment in time where I had to get out of the house where I was living, and I had 60 days to do it, but I was only going to be home 30 of those. And I had jury duty at the same time. And I was panicking, trying to figure out what to do, because I didn't want to listen to the very clear direction I was getting, which was let it all go. I heard loud and clear that I was supposed to let it all go, and I didn't want to. But eventually I listened, and I did. And it came through to me to actually just let go of all of the stuff I was supposed to be and all of the stuff I was supposed to have, and just be on the road for 2 years. And 2 years ended, and it still didn't feel like it was time to end. But what's really interesting is I've been doing this 4 years, and right now I was in between gigs, and I was sort of led to come to a small town, which was out of my way. And I didn't really know why I was led to come here. And then the whole world shut down. And all of my gigs, as everyone's are canceled, because I do a lot of large gatherings that I'm a part of pretty much, I was booked for maybe 10 weeks out. And here I am in this small town like everybody else, except I don't know anyone where I am, but I have a safe and really sweet place to stay. And my staying here is helping the people who otherwise would have an empty home. So it's worked out really beautifully. But here I am in a place where literally I know no one. And I work a lot with clients on the internet. I do something called holistic branding. So I help people create their brand in a way that reflects their truest self, not just sort of getting themselves out there for social media. And so I have connection, but it's all virtual. And it's interesting because even I, who lives a very sort of odd and isolated and often nomadic life, knowing that I'm locked down, everybody's locked down, my little fear gets triggered too. So I can only imagine what it's like for people who've never done this. I have done this. I've been stuck places where I know no one in snowstorms for 2 or 3 weeks. And what I've really found is that if we haven't taken the time to really come to understand who our truest selves are, then without all the distractions we don't have any kind of grounding. And that's really important in caregiving too. If we're so focused on the other person that we're not taking care of ourselves, and by ourselves, I mean our truest selves, not the distracted self, but the self that we really can listen to reconnect and realign with love, then we don't have anything to give. And so now, I have my clients to care for, I have my dog to care for, but I also have myself to care for, so I don't go stir crazy in a place where I know no one. And I think that relationship that I've developed with a self that's much deeper than all the distractions is what's getting me through and allows me to have something to give back to others.
Dave, a lot of times caregivers feel guilty when someone has passed. They wonder if they did the right things, if they did enough things, if they, that what if starts going through your mind. How can you help them deal with that if they're listening right now? And I know they are, because I'm looking at them.
I use a funny little mimic, because everybody can relate to this show about a caregiver caring for his elderly father in the junk business. It was a show on TV back in the 70s. And it was called Sanford and Son. Anybody remember that?
I do.
And remember how Fred, the father, who was the care receiver, used to guilt his son Lamont into doing all sorts of cockamamie things that he had no business doing. And it went something like this. Oh, it's the big one. No, son, really, it's the big one. Elizabeth, I'm coming to meet you, honey. It's the big one. And Lamont would fall for that con, and he could usually get whatever he wants, the father. And caregivers are the same way. They need, again, boundaries in their life, and they need to just let that guilt roll off their back like water on a duck. And I like to say there's 2 kinds of guilt. There's deserved guilt and there's undeserved guilt. And so guilt can be your friend. It can be like a traffic cop pulling you over and say, hey, you got a light out. So when you feel guilty about something, don't necessarily think that it's legitimate, deserved guilt, because it might not be. So you ask yourself, wait a minute, do I deserve to feel guilty about this? And figure it out, be objective as you can. If you can't, call someone you trust and say, hey, they're accusing me of this because I did that. are they valid, or should I just tell them to get lost? And so, if you determine that it is undeserved guilt, then just get rid of it. Kind of like you would if it was a disposable diaper and your baby just pooped in it. You want to get that off of him fast, or it'll burn his little butt off. And guilt will do that too. People live with guilt for so long. Some people live with guilt all their lives. Now, what if we determine that what we did is wrong? We should apologize. We should make restitution. We should turn ourselves into the police. We should do whatever we need to do to make it right. And then do the same thing that you did the first time. Take that diaper, take that guilt, and get rid of it because you made amends. You fixed it. You said you're sorry, whatever it is. And you throw it away and it's gone, just like a disposable diaper. So don't let people heap guilt on you. Don't let them convince you you're not doing enough or you're not doing it good enough. If you're a caregiver, somebody says that to you, just say, hey, fine, I will take a 1-week vacation. You come in for a week. Show me how it's done.
Oh, I love that. That's great. We're down to like the last few minutes of our show. It went so quickly and I didn't even really have time to get to all my questions I wanted to get to. But Victoria, I'm going to ask you quickly. Have you had your father come into your dreams since he passed over? Has he come in and talked to you at all?
Nobody comes into other people's dreams all the time. He comes into other people's dreams and then they tell me what he said. So I don't dream about my dad, but people have had incredibly vivid dreams, people who didn't know him at all. He's had a message for me. He's done things in those dreams that absolutely he would have done. He's also come to people in waking dreams and told them things. And often, especially right around the time where I was shifting my life around and stepping into sort of conveying to people his legacy of love, my dad had really beautiful hands, big hands. He was 6'4". And one of my fondest memories is that he would put his hand on my hand or on my knee. And he would do that in the dreams to other people, put it on their forearm or on their knee if he was sitting next to them. And he would say, tell Tor how proud I am of her. And he did it all the time at a time where I was really trying to change my life. And I really needed to hear that. So he doesn't come to me, he comes through people.
Oh, I love that. That is beautiful, Victoria. What about you, Dave? Do you get messages from any of your deceased loved ones that help you because you're caregiving all the time?
Not really. I have a cousin who disappeared and nobody knows what happened to him. They assume foul play. This was 30 years ago now. And every now and then I will dream that he's alive, that he just shows up at my door and say, hey, I was hiding out and this and that. But I can't really say that I get any dreams helping me or showing me what to do. Maybe it's because I'm so smart that I I do it all myself and I don't need any help. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know.
We don't always have dreams. Sometimes
we only help those who need help, right?
Yeah. So let me give our audience your websites again. Victoria is www.victoriaprice.com. And Victoria, people can find your books on your website. Is that correct?
Yep, and they're on Amazon and from your indie bookseller and Barnes and Noble. Living Love will be out April 14th, and the rest of the books are all available from all the usual sources.
And Dave, our audience can find you at
www.caregiverdave.com. We said that together. Caregiverdave.com.
Books there too?
Pardon?
Can they get your books on your website?
There are a place on my website, media, and then books, but you can also go to Amazon.com. They're there also.
Okay. Well, I want to leave you, my audience. First, I want to thank Dave and Victoria for being with us tonight, and you, my audience, for listening. I've got more than almost, I think, 50,000 downloads on my show. The show is not even a year old yet, and that's all thanks to you. But I want to leave you with this thought. I know it's a very difficult time right now, and our dreams, which may seem like nightmares, are actually a gift in disguise. So I want you, if you're locked away for 2 weeks, I want you to start really listening to your dreams. Write your dreams down, keep a dream journal, and focus on this fact. In the early 20th century, polio was the most feared disease in all the industrialized countries. It was paralyzing hundreds of thousands of children every year. Remember that iron lung? Well, polio is practically wiped out now. It's not a problem anymore. And then we had the tuberculosis. Remember that? Tuberculosis, consumption. People referred to it as consumption. And they had special places where they sent people with tuberculosis, and they kept them away from society, and all those people were dying on a regular basis. It was horrible. And after that, we had leprosy. Remember leprosy? Where parts of our body would fall off, your nose, your lips, and people were put on islands and kept away from everybody else. And then we had, the Spanish flu, and now we have coronavirus. My point is, we are bigger than any of these diseases. We will prevail. We will overcome. And I want you to focus on that when you see the frightening news, when you see everything else. What we are going through, yes, it's a pandemic right now, but we're human beings. We're connected through universal oneness. We have a higher power who wants us to continue, and we will get through this. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. Good night, everybody. Until next time, remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives.
Good night.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for joining us this evening, and a big thanks to our producer. Tune in next time to Dreaming Healing for more cutting-edge research, live dream interpretations, and stories with radio host and award-winning author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Listen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Remember, everyone dreams, but some dreams save lives. Live your dreams. Find more about Kat at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com. That's Kathleen with a K. OKEEFEKANAVOS. Or The Queen of Dreams on Google search.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.